Hi guys, I am back with another video, and today we are going to be doing my top 10 episode 1s of the modern series. And most importantly, what is your favourite episode 1 from the modern series? I'm not going to tell you mine, because you have to watch this video to find out mine. But anyway, without further ado, let's begin my top 10 episode 1s of the modern series. Enjoy! Hi guys, and welcome back to another Doctor Who video. Now today we're going to be starting off my top 10 series for all of the best episode 1s throughout the entire of Modern Who. Now we're going to be starting off with episode 1s, then we're going to be moving on to episode 2s and episode 3s, and then etc, etc, etc. Now since there are 10 series in total and series 10 has just finished, it makes perfect sense to do a top 10 list on all of the best episode 1s, episode 2s and episode 3s, and you get the picture of it. And so without further ado, let's begin my top 10 list of my best episode 1s of every single series in Modern Who. So let's begin with number 10. Alright, at number 10 we have episode 1 of series 2, New Earth. Now, this is the only episode that I really don't like at all. I feel that when watching New Earth, I don't find any motivation, I don't find any enjoyment with it. I just find it really boring. It's just one episode that just presents a pointless concept, introducing disease in a futuristic world, where obviously, yes, disease is still going to exist in a futuristic world. Disease still exists today. Do we know that? Yeah, so what's the point of even having that episode? I mean, the characters were good, the concept was just very weak, and I just felt that the overall direction just didn't have any motivation to keep me intact with the episode. I just felt like, oh, when's this episode going to end? It's just really excruciating to watch because it's just lacking in pace, and it's just very boring of an episode, unfortunately. So yeah, unfortunately, New Earth is the only episode 1 which I really don't like. But anyway, let's move on to number 9. Coming in at number 9, we have episode 1 of series 6, The Impossible Astronaut. Now from beyond this point, I would have to say that all of the episode 1s that we have in my list are really good episode 1s. And for this one, I really enjoyed it. I find it was a really great build-up episode to the Asylum 2-parter, which I really like, and I really like the dark kind of creepy atmosphere with this episode. But I also have mixed opinions on it. I mean, this series, series 6, is classed as my worst series out of the modern series because of what does it lead up to. It's really my worst favourite series of all time, series 6. I really don't like it. But for the first episode of series 6, do I hate it? No, I find it's a really great, enjoyable episode, but it's not up there as one of my favourites. I think what lets it down on is just, unfortunately, it just presents like a lot of bad things of what's going to happen throughout the next couple of episodes throughout that series. So unfortunately, I do like The Impossible Astronaut. I think it's a really great build-up to the Asylum 2-parter, and yeah, that's all I have to say about it, really. I mean, the characters are sort of good. I mean, the Doctor being shot on the boat and, you know, being shot and then dying on the boat and then coming back alive was very confusing, and I thought that was weird. And so, yeah. I mean, there were some odd things that I didn't like about The Impossible Astronaut, but I can't really remember. But anyway, at number 9, we have The Impossible Astronaut. Alright, now we're moving on to number 8. At number 8, we have episode 1 of series 3, Smith and Jones. Now, I really like Smith and Jones for a lot of reasons. One, it's introducing us to Martha as the series 3 companion, which I really like Martha, and I really like Jejun in this. I think they're really good, and I feel like they're underrated. I wish they could come back for like another episode or so. I really want the Jejun to come back because I see them as a very underrated monster. I mean, they're a police force, but I know they appeared for series 4, but I would really love for them to appear again because they're really awesome in my opinion. But as an episode, I do see a few flaws in it, but I'm not going to doubt the flaws about the entire episode, because the entire episode itself did progress throughout the entire series. And series 3, in my opinion, is a really, really great series. And for this episode, episode 1 of series 3 is a really, really great starting off point for series 3 as a whole. And Martha is a really, really well likable character, and I think she's a brilliant companion, and I think she's very, very normal in this episode, and she's like a doctor, just like the Doctor, if you know what I mean. She's training to be a doctor, and then you have the Doctor who is a doctor, obviously, so you have the 2 doctors really. So you see what I'm getting at? Well, she's trained to be a doctor, you know what I mean. But anyway, Smith and Jones was a really, really great first episode for series 3, and it was just the perfect refreshing episode to really boost that morality throughout the entire series. And throughout the entire series of series 3, it became a really, really good series because of that first episode. And that's why I think with every single episode 1, I mean, for every single episode 1 of an entire series, it needs to be intriguing enough, it needs to be enjoying, and it needs to be that motivational kind of episode 1 that you could really recognise, and it's like that refreshing kind of episode that gets you intrigued to the rest of the series. So that's what I generally think about episode 1s and how they really play a part throughout the entire series. Episode 1 really makes a good first impression of what this series is going to be like for the rest of the series, and I really, really like that. And I think Smith and Jones does exactly that. It does a really, really good thing for the entire series. So yes, Smith and Jones, a really great episode for series 3. Alright, now we're moving on to number 7. Coming in at number 7, we have episode 1 of series 7, Asylum of the Daleks. Now, I really like this Dalek episode because I feel like it's better than the other previous Dalek story that Matt Smith had, Victory of the Daleks, which I'm not going to talk about. But yeah, Asylum of the Daleks was a really great episode. I really liked the Dalek Asylum. I thought that was a really unique place. I really like all of the different Daleks. I mean, the special weapons Daleks made appeared in it. And I think the Daleks were really well executed in this as well. And then we had a special appearance from Jenna Coleman's character called Oswin. I thought she was a really great character. I thought she was very mysterious, and I think she was a very unique kind of character. And so yeah, that progressed her storyline throughout the entire series of series 7. And I think Asylum of the Daleks was a really great episode to point out that Jenna Coleman's Oswin, or should I say Clara, will be returning into the the 7th series as well. So Asylum of the Daleks did present out a really great kind of storyline. It introduced the storyline really, really well for Clara's character, and also for her character throughout the entire of the series. So that was really, really good, pointing out that kind of storyline with Jenna Coleman's character, Clara, and also Oswin as well. But basically they're the same person, but they're just with different names, that's all. So yeah, I thought Asylum of the Daleks was really good. I thought the Daleks were really well executed, and I think they played their part just right. And I really like when they went into that room and they found all of the Daleks kind of chained up. I mean, some of the Daleks, I mean, Oswin mentioned some planets that it was like so many references, like Vulcan, and you had like Skaro, and then you have other sort of planets referencing kind of classical kind of stories, like with Death of the Daleks, Power of the Daleks, and also other, references to Daleks and stuff like that. And so I thought Asylum of the Daleks was a really great episode. It was a great motivational episode. I thought it was a really enjoyable Dalek episode. It wasn't boring in my opinion. I find it really enjoying, but also a very fun Dalek story as well. And it really was a great episode to start off series 7. And so that was Asylum of the Daleks at number 7. A really great, enjoyable Dalek episode. I really enjoyed it. And so yes, let's move on to number 6. At number 6, we have episode 1 of series 9, The Magicians Apprentice. Now, I really like this episode a lot. Again, this is another Dalek episode, which I really, really enjoy a lot. Because the one word that really intrigued me to the entire episode itself, the word Davros at the beginning, was really something else. I mean, that boy saying that he's Davros, and that really hooked me up straight away. And it was an inclusive spoiler to the series. There was no like spoilers before the series started. It was generally that his boy's name was called Davros, and my word when people were shocked, and I was really intrigued with it. It was an intriguing kind of thing to the series, and I really liked the Magicians Apprentice. I find it a really great Dalek episode. Not many few Daleks appeared, but most of the time people criticize whether the Daleks were executed well in the Magicians Apprentice. I quite like it, because I feel like that this is an episode which many people really criticize over because of the Daleks that didn't really do much for the Magician's Apprentice. However, I see them as a real threat in this episode. I do feel like that Davros is the main focus in this episode, and I really like Davros in this. And also that snake person as well, as one of his servants. He was really creepy and really scary in my opinion. So yeah, I thought the writing over this, the Magician's Apprentice, was really something else. And also Misty, I thought Misty was good in it as well. And then the direction of it was really good as well. So overall, I thought the Magician's Apprentice was, again, like Asylum the Daleks. But I thought that since there was Davros in it, I think it made the entire episode a whole lot better and a whole lot more intriguing. Because Davros is a very monstrous character, and I really like Davros. Davros, in one word, is mysterious, but also very unknowing. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what he's thinking. That's why I like Davros so much, and I think he plays his part well in this. He does an absolutely brilliant performance in this. Yeah, Davros is really good in this. And so yes, that is at number 6, The Magician's Apprentice. Now for number 5. Coming in at number 5, we have episode 1 of series 4, Partners in Crime. Now, I really love this episode for so many reasons. One, it brings back Donna to Doctor Who, but also the connection between the Doctor and Donna is just so funny, and I think they make one great pair. And I really like them both in this episode. I think the Doctor is really funny in this, but also Donna as well. She's really like the star of the show in this. I mean, all of the episode revolves around her as a normal human being who's just wasted her life just trying to get herself a job. And then she meets the Doctor. It's such a brilliant way of how that storyline is developed. And series 4 was a fantastic series. And this really presented out that Donna was going to be the right companion for series 4. And I was so intrigued to it, because Partners in Crime felt like a really fun, enjoying episode. And I really love Partners in Crime so much. I think it's one episode that many people highly regard as a brilliant episode to watch, and I really rate it so highly. I mean, if I could give it a rate, I would give Partners in Crime a 9 out of 10, because it's a really fantastic episode. The entire episode itself was so motivational. It was really intriguing, really interesting, but also very funny as well, very light-hearted, and those are many of the aspects that I really like about this episode. Partners in Crime is a really great episode 1 for series 4, and it was just a perfect episode just to start off the series so perfectly. And I think Donna was just absolutely sensational in Partners in Crime, especially with the Doctor as well. Really funny, very charismatic, and yeah, they were just such a great pair in this. I really love their dynamic. And so yes, that's at number 5, Partners in Crime. Now for number 4. Coming in at number 4, we have episode 1 of series 10. Yes, episode 1 of series 10, The Pilots. My word. If you have not checked out my series 10 episode 1 review on The Pilot, then I highly recommend you go and check it out, because I absolutely adore The Pilot to bits. I really love The Pilot so much. It was a refreshing start to the series. I really love Capaldi in this. And I think that Nada was really good, and I really liked Bill. I think Bill was the star of the show in The Pilots. The entire episode revolved around Bill as a companion, as a person, a relatable companion, a refreshing new start to the show, a jumping on point for new fans, and it certainly did that. It was absolutely an amazing episode 1, and it really started off the entire series strong, and it really made me so intrigued for the entire series as a whole because of Bill's relatable personality as a companion, and as she's so normal and so relatable, I was really intrigued for her character in series 10. And my word, the entire episode itself, with Heather, with that star in her eye, it had some creepy moments, it had some really funny and quite awesome moments as well. I know Nardo blowing some stuff up, and then we had the little sneak peek of the Daleks coming in, which unfortunately they didn't really play a part whatsoever in the pilot. However, if the Daleks weren't in the pilot, then the entire episode will get a 10 out of 10. But for me, the pilot gives me a 9.5 out of 10, because overall, it did exactly what I wanted this series to happen, because Series 10, as you know from my Series 10 reviews, Series 10 is now my favourite series of all time because of how well it's progressed out, and it's Peter Capaldi's best series of all time. And I really love Series 10 because of this first episode. This first episode sets off Series 10 on a high, and it really made us so intrigued to find out who's inside the vault, what's going to happen next throughout the series. It was a refreshing start to the show, and I really enjoyed every single minute of it. It was really such a great episode 1 to start off Series 10 with a bang. I really love the pilot so much. And so that's at number 4, the pilot. Now for number 3. Coming in at number 3, we have episode 1 of Series 5, the 11th Hour. Now, I really like the 11th Hour a lot. I feel like it's the perfect introduction to Matt Smith's Doctor. It was a really fantastic episode, not only to Matt Smith's Doctor, but also to Karen Gillan as Amy Pond throughout Series 5. And I really like Series 5 as a whole. I think it's one of the best series that Moffat has ever done throughout his era, and I felt like that the 11th Hour was the perfect start to start off the series on a bang. And when I first thought about what position to put the 11th Hour on my list, I thought I was going to put it a bit slightly lower because of how overrated it is, because many people talk about it as it's people's #1 favourite episode of all time, where in fact when I've watched it it's not. So people just really over talk about the 11th Hour so much, and it's sort of an overrated kind of episode. But then rewatching it again, I realised to myself that it's not overrated, it's just perfect. It's a perfect episode 1 to the series. I really like the 11th Hour so much, and Prisoner Zero, I really like that monster a lot. It was really creepy to start off with, and I really like Matt Smith in this. He's very funny, he's very comedic, but also has that Doctor essence. And he got into the character so well, and his character, his Doctor, worked so well throughout this episode. It was just really fun and enjoying to watch Matt Smith play his Doctor, and it was just such a great enjoyment to watch the 11th Hour. Although how overrated it is, I still enjoyed the 11th Hour so much. I feel like it's the great starting off point for many fans who come to love Matt Smith's Doctor a lot. I mean, many people love Matt Smith, and this was the starting off point to like Matt Smith's Doctor a lot. And my word, I like Matt Smith a lot, and this was his perfect episode, his perfect introduction episode as the Doctor. Really great episode, really fantastic episode 1 to Series 5. And so that's at number 3, the 11th Hour, which I would give overall a 10 out of 10 because of how brilliant it is. And now we're moving on to number 2. At number 2, we have the beginning. Yes, the beginning that started it all off. The first episode of Modern Who. Yes. At number 2, it is episode 1 of Series 1, Rose. My word. What could I say about Rose? Really. What could I say about it? That it was just a perfect jumping on point for Doctor Who fans. I love and adore Rose to bits. It's such of a perfect introduction to Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, to Rose, to Mickey, but also to new fans who have not seen Doctor Who before. And it was just a perfect introduction to every single person who's not seen the show Doctor Who, but they've come to love Doctor Who because of that first episode. That first episode is legendary. It's what started off the entire of Doctor Who. That's what started Modern Who off. Rose was the episode that started Modern Who off, and my word, it was such a successful episode, and I definitely rate this episode so highly because of how important it is. Because if this episode was not successful, then we would not have all of these amazing episodes we have today. Rose was just a masterpiece. So many references, the mystery behind the Doctor, Rose as a companion, introducing the whole Doctor Who concept to new fans. It was just a great starting on point for many fans who've come to love Doctor Who, and it was all because of that first episode, Rose. Episode 1 of the first series. And my word, Rose was absolutely spectacular. It was absolutely a masterpiece work by Russell T Davies. Brilliant work by Russell T Davies. I love Rose to bits. And it was just a great introduction to introduce fans to Doctor Who. It really just did. It really introduced many people, many young people especially, to come to love Doctor Who. And we all have to give massive praise to that episode right there. That is just a legendary episode. I cannot say any much more that it deserves a 10 out of 10 rating for me. Because it just does exactly that. It intrigues us, it motivates the entire story, and it motivates us to really enjoy and to really intrigue us to what's going to happen next throughout the next couple of episodes throughout the first series of Doctor Who. And my word, was I intrigued to that first episode, and then I was intrigued to every single episode of what the series can bring for me. And I was seriously intrigued to every single episode. But I think Rose, as an unexpected surprise when I watched it at the age of 5, my word, I was intrigued to Doctor Who so much, and I really love Doctor Who. Yeah, this was the starting on point that really started it off for me to love all of this. Doctor Who as a whole, Rose was that episode that started everything off, and I'm really happy that Rose gets an absolutely brilliant reception, because many people love it. I certainly love it. Many people sort of like it, but for me, Rose started Doctor Who off for me, and it started the entire era of modern Who. And my word, if Rose was not successful, we would not have all of these modern Who episodes right now. Think of Heaven Sent and all of those amazing episodes right now. Those would never existed if it wasn't for Rose. So yeah, at number 2, we have the beginning, episode 1 of series 1, Rose. A really fantastic, enjoying episode 1. And this is how an episode 1 should be like. It should be enjoying, it should be intriguing, it should be motivational. And Rose did exactly that. It was really something else. I can't really describe any more words about Rose, but just a legendary episode. And so that was at number 2, Rose. And you're probably thinking now, well, what's at number 1? Well, if you're not guessed already, time for number 1. And at number 1, if you have not guessed already, it is episode 1 of series 8, Deep Breath. The starting on points for Peter Capaldi as the Doctor. My word. What could I say about Deep Breath? That Deep Breath was a sensational episode. Absolutely, one hell of an episode. I was really intrigued to Peter Capaldi's Doctor, and this episode made me more intrigued to his Doctor, introducing the darkest Doctor, the old grandfather kind of essence of a Doctor, where we've had so many young Doctors, but now we have one that's very older. And you see the difference between Matt Smith's Doctor and Peter Capaldi's Doctor. And Peter Capaldi, he got into the role so well as the Dark Doctor throughout Series 8, and then his personality started to change throughout Series 9, and then to Series 10, but Series 8 is one of my favourite series because of introducing the darkest Doctor. And my word, Peter Capaldi's performance in this is just undescribable. I can't really describe Peter Capaldi's performance in this. That is just a legendary performance by Peter Capaldi. He plays the role with so much brilliance. It's just an episode which I was seriously intrigued to, and I really enjoyed the entire episode. It had a great mind-breaking concept. How long could you hold your breath for? And it was really, really amazing to see how Clara could cope with holding her breath for a long period of time without letting out a single gasp of air. And my word, was that heartbreaking for me. And I felt that Clara, Jenna Coleman's performance as Clara in this, was seriously fantastic. I really love Clara in this because it's for the first time that Clara has seen a new Doctor, and it's very difficult to get used to different types of Doctors. Like, she's been with Matt Smith, but also it was a great starting on point for Clara to realise that the Doctor's changed into a new person, and having that entire series, Series 8, to see how Clara could cope with Peter Capaldi's Doctor. My word, this was the starting on point for me to like Peter Capaldi's Doctor, and for me to truly understand his personality, his dark personality. He's sarcastic, he's dark, and I really like his justice. But also the entire episode itself was really well written by Stephen Moffat. Stephen Moffat's best introduction episode for any series, as well as with the pilot as well, and also the 11th hour. Sorry about that. And I really loved the half-faced man in this, the half-faced robot. I loved that person, he was so creepy. But also the entire episode itself with Strax, Jenny, but also Madame Vastra as well. They played a really great part in this, and I really love Strax as a whole. I think Strax should appear in more in Doctor Who episodes because he's absolutely hilarious in this. But also I really like Madame Vastra's approach to the Doctor, and I really like the description that Madame Vastra gives to Clara about the Doctor. And for Clara to truly realise that the Doctor's a different person now, and she has to get used to that different person, it's something else. And to see throughout the series of how Clara copes with Peter Capaldi's Doctor as a new Doctor, it's so different for Clara to get used to it. But it's also a truly interesting but also very outstanding experience to really know about the Doctor's character. He is very unpredictable. That's the one word that could possibly describe Peter Capaldi. Unpredictable, dark as hell. He was really something else. It was not more of that kind of funny, kind of light-hearted. It was funny in that kind of sarcastic way, but it was one regeneration episode which I've never really seen before, that is taken it in a much different direction from how other Doctors have came out. Like with Matt Smith, it was very funny, it took a very like odd kind of reaction. But this, for me, it felt more of an episode that it took a very different odd direction with the regeneration. Talking very strangely, acting very odd, and it really just showed that how Peter Capaldi as the role of the Doctor is a very different Doctor. He's a very much older, very much darkish Doctor, which we've never seen before in Doctor Who, and I really love this episode entirely. And so yes, at number 1 it is Deep Breath. So anyway guys, thank you very much guys for watching for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like on this video, and also please comment down below and tell me your best episode 1s throughout the entire Modern Who. Please comment down below, I'm interested to hear your opinions, and please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much guys for watching for this first top 10 list. Please do comment down below and tell me your favourites, your best and also your worst episode 1s throughout the entire of Modern Who. I've told you mine, I really want to hear yours. And thank you very much guys for watching for this top 10 list. I will see you guys next time for another video, hopefully whenever. Until then, bye for now.